Let's see what happens. It says we're back on. We should be back.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Sorry about that.
They don't want you to know about the Suica game.
They don't. We talked too much about the Suica game.
We did. I'll make it pretty quick here. So the idea here is you just keep dropping the fruits, and as they combine, they get bigger, and it's trying to fit the bigger fruit into the same space. And eventually you'll stack up the fruit in a way that it goes over the edge, and then you lose. Seems like
there was a lot of edging when we played.
It seems like most people are trying to get to the elusive 3,000 score. I've seen you look at the leaderboard.
Oh, I got that on here.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah, yeah. That's like somebody playing threes versus somebody who's playing 2048, and it's like, oh yeah, I made the thing. It's like, yeah, that's not how that's not.
It's all here. It's all here, baby. I got the receipts.
But 3,000 seems to be the place where you separate the good players from the not as good players.
He's gone pro, folks.
I haven't. I've gotten 2,800. That's my highest, and it pissed me off that I didn't quite make it.
Hear me out, Chase. Hear me out.
Yeah, I'm hearing
the crossover, the fruit cinematic universe.
Okay.
The FCU.
The FCU, baby.
Uh-huh.
At the top, you've got Fruit Ninja chopping that shit up, and as the fruit falls,
I had a really good time with Fruit Ninja back in college.
The fruit falls into the box that you've been cutting.
Yeah.
And that is the crossover we've been looking for. A Fruit Ninja Suica hybrid.
Sure. Now available at Dave & Buster's.
Yes.
Rhythm Heaven, that has a watermelon in it, right?
Probably somewhere. Yeah.
What's with these watermelons, kid?
Yoshi's Island, that has watermelons in it. Anyway, it's an incredibly addictive game. It doesn't take very long to play.
How much have you played, would you say?
A lot. I bet I've put in double-digit hours into it so far.
Well, that could just be 10.
And it's been in the last week that I've learned about this game. So
here's a question.
It's a good chunk of time.
If you didn't have a Japanese Nintendo account already, do you think you would have made one so you could play this game?
Probably. Yeah.
All right.
That's a really low barrier to entry though. Like it's free to make a Japanese account. It's relatively quick. I had one previously.
There's a whole write-up on it.
I'm finding weird like Japanese DLC or like for like Super Robot Wars stuff.
Right.
But, I was downloading some stuff.
We are well acquainted.
Yeah. I do mention we do have a quick look of this where I introduced it to Bobby. You can see Bobby's initial reactions to this game when that quick look goes up. But it is.
Tune into Casual Mondays for VTuber Bobby and Chase, where we're playing this game.
So it's a really solid puzzle game.
It is cool. It's cool. It's a cool game.
Yeah. It's mechanically really interesting. It has a couple quirks to it, and I think those quirks make it even more interesting. Of like, the fruit can, like, you can use the physics in such a way where like
it's
this
so
fruit
fucking
expanded
weird.
because you just combined it, and it shoots this fruit out, and it shoots it up, and it shoots it out of the box, and the game's like, oh, you hit the top. And we're like, no, I didn't. I'm at the button. Just let the
it's
fruit
so
drop
fucking
down, you
weird.
fucking asshole.
I know. It's so fucking
but it's
weird.
like no. I'm weirdly it's got to be exact.
I think we'll have it up next week too for the quick look. I'm pretty sure it'll be next week.
People should check it out. It's fun. I'm gonna keep on playing it until I reach 3,000, and then I think I can put it down for good. But until then,
I'll quit whenever I want.
It's definitely been a case of like, oh, I'll just play one session of this, one round, and then 4 rounds later, and you realize, oh, my lunch hour was gone.
Oh my god!
An hour ago. Oh fuck! what happened?
Oh my god!
It's fun. If you play it once, you'll play it a lot. It's really really good.
Nice.
Also, it just has one music track, but that music track is
it's the best elevator. It's the best elevator ride ever.
It's great. It's great. I just can't stop.
Chase, you talked about beating the ROM hacked Fire Emblem, the Binding Blade, and you talked about your sick Suica addiction here on the Casual Hour tonight. We'll have a quick look up of at least one of those games next week. on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Casual Hour. Any other updates from Chase?
No, I think that's it. Like I've been playing Chance of Sonar. I don't think we've gotten to talk about that on the show because
We
we
have.
had the October preview. Well, you have. I didn't
Yeah.
talk about me playing it because we had
Got
the
it.
October preview. But I've been enjoying that. I got through the first area. I'm on the second area right now, the fortress. I think that game is really cool.
It's
Having
awesome.
a great time with that. We did a quick look at that. That's been up.
No,
Is it up?
it's
No.
going to go up
Okay.
next week.
So you can check that out. That was a game that we initially were not all that excited about, and I think it's kind of wormed its way into our hearts at this point. So
Totally.
I too have fell under the spell of
Hell yeah.
Chance of Sonar. Good stuff.
Well,
And I downloaded Cocoon. I know Bobby's going to talk about Cocoon.
Yep.
I can't wait to hear more about it and play it myself. So Bobby, tell me more about Cocoon.
Well, I will tell you about Cocoon when I'm ready to, Chase, but I'm not going to be talking about that first. I'm going to talk about Fights in Tight Spaces, baby. The fucking game of 2021 that we love.
Okay.
And
if you must talk about one of the best games of all time, I suppose I'll let you.
Please and thank you very much. We're talking about Fights in Tight Spaces, the Weapon of Choice DLC that dropped on the 28th of September. This will set you back $10 on those personal computers. It is not yet on the Switch. This is the first paid DLC for the game. They've added a few other quality of life updates and some other stuff to the game along the way. But this is a whole new deck, new enemy types, remixed story, 5 new music tracks, a lot of really cool shit. But most importantly, you now have a weapon. Think of it more of like a John Wick where you're doing a gung fu. And that deck is really built around melee, but then holstering and unholstering your weapon to do ranged attacks. And I got to tell you, I think it works really well. The guys at Ground Shatter have done a fantastic job with this. We streamed it on Monday. We've got a quick look up of it. I don't know what else I can say about Fights in Tight Spaces quality at this point that we haven't just screened.
Then if you haven't played that game, you should go play it.
You should go play that.
Yeah, it's really, really well done.
Support
They've
those
got
guys. They make
100%
top quality work. Yeah.
They do some,
and the DLC is fun. Like it does change up the game in a pretty significant way. Like there have been extremely limited projectile attacks in that game. There was like a throwing dart that you could use, but for the most part, you had to get up close and personal on guys. So to have a style, have this new deck where you can use this gun to be able to have longer range attacks, and I think it's balanced really interestingly. Where Bobby mentioned it with the holstering and unholstering, you kind of you draw extra cards when you draw the gun, and then you are able to get like, okay, these are your gun cards, but then you have to balance those out with your punchy cards. And so you're just trying to. It makes the combos really interesting too. There's a lot of
and that you can lose your combos if you pull your gun out. It's like another mechanic they've got.
Yeah, it adds a whole other layer.
Yeah. But then they've got
cool extra dimension.
It's cool.
It's been neat. And I don't know what this means. Of course, the Ground Shatter hasn't said anything, but if you go into the DLC portion of the splash menu, it looks like there's more to come. So I don't know if there's going to be other paid packs or they add some more cards into it, but we will always play more of this game, and we hope they continue to support it for as long as they can because it rules.
Rico London, which is another one of their games, a previous game they made before Fights, also just went on sale on the eShop. It was like 30% off, and I've been really close to just downloading that because I really like their shit. I should see what their other stuff was like.
Hell yeah, the game that made the game type thing.
Yeah.
And as Chase talked about, I've been playing a lot of Cocoon. Chase joined me for a brief quick look of it. I don't think Johnny has played this yet, but I've got a handful of hours into this at this point in time. This is recently added to a few different platforms, PC, Xbox, Switch. I think it's on PlayStation. I think it's on everything at this point in time. It's made by Geometric Interactive, which is made up of ex-Playdead devs. It's published by Annapurna Interactive. It sets you back $24. It's currently on sale for 20% off on Steam at the time of this recording. This is a puzzle, I guess platformer is probably the way that we could go into it.
Sure.
to a degree. They're doing some really inventive things with the game here, but I'll get into that in a moment. But I think first and foremost, there are absolutely some Play Dead inspirations here, even though this is more of an isometric, different camera angle than what Inside or Limbo would be. I think there's some conceptual theory at play here on how they approach storytelling through puzzles and how they move things forward through puzzles that feels very much in the same atmosphere that a Play Dead game would be. You are some sort of insect race in this. You have wings that will glow when there's something to interact with in the environment, and that's one of the things that's pretty striking to me. Is this is a one button video game. That's it. You can move your joystick around and you have one button to interact with the environment. You can long press or short press that to do different things depending on what activity you're doing. But it's a minimal puzzle that is incredibly complex. And you've probably heard folks talk about this, but it might be one of the best showpieces of fast loading that I have seen in modern gaming, where you are picking up these marbles or these orbs that are legitimate worlds that you would be playing in the game. And you can go in and out of those and wear it on your back and nest them into other worlds and do some fucking wild things that you unlock through boss battles in each one of them that then allows you to interact in the environment almost like a Metroidvania that you can go back and do some backtracking with in a really cool way.
Like, what if Patrick's Parabox had way more detailed graphics?
Yeah. Because it's like a Russian doll, like in a way, like, and it keeps going in ways that like blow my mind. It's not quite to the viewfinder like mind fuckery for me yet, but in 2023, like Viewfinder, a game I know Chase enjoyed a hell of a lot. I certainly liked a whole lot, and now Cocoon have done this weird fucking inception thing to my brain on how I not only think about problem solving, but even like Viewfinder was way more creative focused than what this is, but there's still some inventive things that you can do with the very like core mechanic. And there's not a whole lot else outside of that, but they do it in a very, very smart way on how you might need this color orb and how can you get this thing past this area. It's really remarkable in what they're doing here.
I've only, I think, beaten the first boss. I mean, like the second area you get to, and it makes a very, very strong impression.
Totally.
It's also just gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's beautiful.
Mechanically interesting, sure, and like having the simplified mechanics or the simplified controls anyway is neat, but it is a beautiful looking game.
Absolutely. Like this, like when I think about this year, there's been some absolute triumphs in gaming, but I think Humanity, a game, Chase, that you and I have taken some time to check out,
Yep.
Viewfinder and this are really standing tall for me in a year of really clever uses of just like some games are using social engagement, others are doing more nesting and mechanical stuff that we talked about. Fucking Viewfinder is one of the most innovative games I've played in a very, very long time. Like it's just been a really kick-ass year for these types of games. Cerebral puzzle games are fucking rad. And I love that you pulled out Patrick's Parabox because I love the idea of that game. It drove me mad playing it. And I mean that in like the most loving way possible.
It drove me mad looking at it.
Yeah. But Cocoon, there is like the thing that happens in a Play Dead game, it has this perpetual motion. Like you're constantly moving forward in a way. And sometimes it's out of fear, other times it's out of curiosity. And a lot of that spirit is still in this game without some of the scary shit there, which just play this game.
How would you, I mean, from a narrative standpoint, do you feel like you're getting much out of it? Is it more like it's just atmospheric and cool, or do you feel like you're really doing something?
I have almost this feeling of like abandonment and almost like a fallen empire when I'm playing it. There's things that like you kind of come across where it seems like it would have been once functioning or perhaps more occupied.
Like it feels like you're on some sort of like journey of reclamation.
Yeah.
Or something. Like you're exploring this long ago abandoned civilization or something.
Okay.
I don't know if they
Or
get more into it.
Because like thinking about Playdead games, like Limbo, that is a game that's very abstract.
yeah,
And then you get to something like Inside, where that it's certainly not
gross.
as abstract. It's gross definitely, but that game is telling a story, and
Yeah.
you're figuring out what that story is as you play it. But that is a game that is clearly telling you something. Whereas Limbo, it kind of takes you until the end to go, oh, I see what you did
Yes.
there.
Yes.
And so would you say Cocoon is falling more on like the inside
I
uh
think
point of the scale?
I have a theory at this point that it's not as good for you as the player, but I kind of feel like it's either reclaiming, to Johnny's point, or invading. And I kind of think
Okay.
now that these orbs might be some sort of like biome to bring into a barren, once unoccupied area and trying to get it to take in a way. Like, I kind of see it like Alien, like you're going in and out of a ship when you jump out of the orb. I don't know. I could be way off on that, but
And that's kind of, I don't want to spoil things too much, but that's a little bit what Viewfinder is doing too, of like going
yeah,
into this thing to find something to take out.
yeah, for sure. The last thing I'll just call out, Chase. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but Johnny, have in the boss fight, did you happen to get hit by the boss?
I don't think so.
When you get hit by the boss, it knocks you out of the orb, and it's really fucking cool how they do it.
And yeah, because the transition to go into the
Yep.
I was not expecting, and
So
so when
when
it happened, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like
so
it's like
when you
going
get
into a
hit,
slow
it's like
motion.
a fucking roundhouse, and you go flying in the air, and then all of a sudden you're out of the orb, and you
Man.
hop back in and go right
Yeah.
back to fighting. It's fucking cool how they do it.
Mm.
That
Maybe
sounds a lot better than like the Link to the Past like boss with like the 3 balls or something, like that snake
Yes.
thing that just like bounces
Yes.
yeah.
you off the edge, and then you have
Yeah.
to like get all the
Maybe
way back
yeah.
up there to fight him again.
I
Yeah.
could see it having like a Shadow of the Colossus type
Yeah.
twist to it.
Cool.
It's
Yeah,
interesting. I
man.
didn't
That
think
seems
about
like a
it that
really
way.
cool game. I'm really excited to play it. I want to finish Chance of Senar first, and I wanted to
And I
finish
need to
Fire
start
Emblem
that one.
before that. So now that I finished Fire Emblem, I think I'm going to get back on Chance and then hopefully get to Cocoon really soon.
I'm still playing that. I'm holding off on any more talks until Chase plays it or end of the year. But I did start playing Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I'll keep this brief. This was intended to be DLC. This is $50. It's currently on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. This follows Basim from Valhalla, who, I don't know how we want to spoil that game, but it's been a couple years. He ends up being the antagonist of that game. And this is more about his introduction into the Brotherhood. And you are in Baghdad, and Ubisoft is basically saying, all right, you want those old school Assassin's Creed games? Fine, then here you go. Now let's see you clear them. And that's what this is. It is 100% in the spirit of 1, 2, and 3, and Brotherhood for that matter. I'm loving it. It is very stealth focused. It's way more like you are collecting things, but not nearly to the degree that you were in Odyssey Origins and Valhalla. But I find the setting and the parkour and just the kind of old inside look to the Brotherhood very focused. Like, you go assassinate this person, blend in. You do not want to fight hand to hand that much. If you have to, it's literally parry, dodge, strong or light attack. Like, there's not a whole lot more that you do there. But you are building out the crew, which is awesome, and you're finding people that will upgrade your gear for you. You can find schematics. They've got what I loved about the old school Assassin's Creed games, where there was like the one kind of god tier armor set that you could find pieces or like amulets for and then unlock at the end. They're doing that shit again, which is cool. But this is a 20-hour Assassin's Creed game, which, thank God, it feels like that's a tenth of some of the most recent ones that they've put out. And I think,
especially when they've got into the RPG, more RPG
yes,
elements of those, it felt like the hour counts just ballooned.
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, I think Valhalla was like I think
dude, not
Matt
only
Rory
is
said it was like 140 hours or something.
that's the base game, and all their DLC for these games has been like over double digits too. So they're massive. They're just very big video games. And I think that, again, this was supposed to be the final DLC for Valhalla, and they've now announced a shit ton of other Assassin's Creed games, and it sounds like they're still going to have, if you are a fan of the newer style Assassin's Creeds, they're still going to have those, where they're going to be doing Assassin's Creed Code Red, I think, or something like that, which is their feudal Japan. There's also a mobile game, and this game is also coming to iOS. And I think early next year it'll be a full-priced iOS game. But yeah, it's cool. I'm having a good time with it. Probably like 4 or 5 hours in at this point. And I've killed my first contract, and I've unlocked a little bit more of other side missions now that you can pick up to do other cool stuff to go and explore. So definitely going to keep playing more of that.
Just being on the quick look with Bobby, it's the most interested I've been in an Assassin's Creed game since Brotherhood, probably.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
Good news, Chase. It's
Yeah, I played Revelations and it was fine, and then I played 3 and I really didn't like 3.
Same. That's
Did
kind of
anyone
right.
like 3?
No. 4 was cool though. I love
Yeah,
Black Flag.
Black Flag, when they brought that back, people liked that, but I was off the train at that point. I know you guys bought me
Origins.
for a birthday gift one time, or maybe it was Christmas. I can't remember. But I remember having a little bit of fun with that. I really like the setting of that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like the RPG stuff, just I'm glad it changed up the formula from what it was before. But just the hour count, and you look, you go to the map and you see all the Ubisoft
Oh,
icons,
boy.
and you go, okay, I think we're good here.
We're good
So
there.
it's cool to see it kind of going back to its roots and finding a more narrow kind of gameplay loop to get into. That sounds really cool, and it looks great. It's cool to be back in the Middle Eastern
Yeah, man.
setting. Man, it seems good.
You missed it right before right after we recorded that. I unlocked some more Ubisoft Connect points, and I have Ezio's costume now.
Okay, nice.
Ezio,
No, I'm sorry. I have
Auditore,
Altair's.
Altair's,
Okay,
yeah.
that's even better.
Have you checked out
Yeah.
that filter yet that they have?
I have. That's one thing that I did not show off in the quick look chase. They have the old blue wash filter that you can apply in the
okay,
game to make
sure.
it look visually like the first one.
It's real dumb and good.
It's very dumb and good. Yes.
Do they also play the Uncle song from the Assassin's Creed trailer?
Maybe.
I don't even remember what that song was called. I just remember liking that song from the trailer.
But yeah, it's cool. $50 for the standard. I think there's a deluxe for 60 that gets you some in-game stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out if you are a fan of that series. I think this is one that's worth your time. It might not be the best one that they put out, but it's definitely worth checking out.
Very cool.
Johnny, my friend, what have you been doing?
Oh, Bobby, so many video games. But I'm only going to talk about 2 of them right now.
Okay.
Because everything else is stuff I have talked about at length on this podcast. So Deep Rock Galactic. we're
Your
big
game and
fans.
mine, yes.
They recently announced, I think 2 new games, right?
2 new games and an expansion on the seasons for Galactic.
Yes. So lots of new stuff coming out for that. And they put out a demo for Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. Now, can you take a guess as to what kind of game this might be?
Well, Bobby and I can take a very good guess because we played it on.
We streamed it on Monday.
God damn it.
Steam Next
Okay.
Yeah.
You ruined it. Yeah, so it is a I guess we're calling these Survivor's Life, maybe? Anyway.
Yes,
Yeah.
So it is like Vampire Survivors, 20 minutes till dawn, those kind of games.
There's a
only
lot of
this
them
is
now.
This is set in the universe of Deep Rock, and you play as a scout. That's the only class available in this demo. And you're in the mines, and you're getting minerals and nitra, gold, all the good stuff. And you're fighting monsters. You're collecting little orbs that they drop. You're leveling up. You're getting new weapons. You're increasing the buffs on your current weapons. And
Isometric viewpoint, like it's like Deep Rock
isometric
Yeah.
is
viewpoint,
generally
yeah,
a first person game, and this one's like,
yes,
oh, what if we give you the Diablo treatment?
yeah.
Kind of
And
neat.
you are trying to draw out an elite enemy, and then once you kill that enemy, you have 30 seconds to leave and go down to the next level, which is like their own little twist on the survivor uh, aspect. And I played it maybe, let's see, like for an hour or so, and I got to the fourth level in my time playing. Does it keep your pro- progress,
That
Bobby?
so if you there's things you can unlock that stay with your character. That's the other thing that they do. There's 4 classes, just like Deep Rock
Mhm.
Galactic, and
Yes.
you level up each one of those classes individually.
Yeah.
And
So
that
it's
gets you more long-term things that you can use to load into these
yeah.
missions with.
Yep. So similar to other roguelites, things of that nature, like you can get permanent increases to your skills and stuff. I've played for 69 minutes. Nice.
Nice.
There you go.
I,
Um,
I
One of the cool things I saw when
yeah.
Bobby was playing it yesterday was that you know, in something like Vampire Survivors, I know that that very first stage is just open. It's just
Yep.
big and open, and you just keep running. But then other stages they have, you know, there's geometry in there, so you can kind
It's
of
actual corridors.
kite. Yeah, you can kite
The
enemies a little bit. You can, you know, get a little bit like,
um
okay, I'm around this corner. They can't attack
yeah,
me anymore. And this game allows you to play with that a little bit more in that, you know, it's
you
a deep rock
create
game, so
yeah, you
you're
create
yeah
pathways
yeah, like
through
you're
the
digging
rock.
stuff. It's like a
Mhm.
little bit of dig dug in there as
Yeah,
well.
it's
Where
real
okay,
good.
I've made this path, so now not only am I kiting the enemies, I'm deciding how I want to kite the
Mhm.
enemies.
Yeah, you're
And
making you can create your own choke points.
hmm
So if you start to get overwhelmed, you can uh, find a way to just make it okay. They only have one way to approach me, but also they can dig through the rocks themselves. So you always, just like Vampire Survivor, you always got to be moving.
and
Um,
you have further incentives to dig through the rock because there will be, you know, chests or extra bonuses that you can find in there too. So there might even be a little risk reward of like, oh well, I don't really want to dig through here because I need this to be a wall for me, but also I want the goodies that are in there,
mhm.
so I am going to do that. It's I think
Yeah,
they've got
I
some neat ideas.
the cool
yeah,
thing too, Johnny, I don't know if I mean you and I have played so much Deep Rock that I was
yeah.
really giddy to hear the rock and stone quips that they would call out.
Hmm.
And I also love that the core loop of Galactic is still here. You're still
Yeah,
getting supply drops. You're still maintaining ore. You're still having swarms that come and attack you. Like
you're still
everything
getting
that
nitra to heal yourself. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
like it's
everything
awesome
you know
how
and
well they
love,
did it.
but yeah,
And
but
it's
in a Survivor,
and I also
and
don't think it
it's
feels
awesome.
like just a cash grab from these guys, like to chase a trend. I know a lot of folks
Mm,
put out games like
y-
this.
Yeah, no, it feels like they wanted to put their own spin on it
Yeah,
in their universe, and it's going to be an early access game.
this year,
Uh,
right? Or is it
nope,
next year?
Q1 next year.
So they got both
Um,
this and Rogue Core, which is their. I don't know much more about that one. I know it's co-op. I know it's first person, but it's a Rogue game. I know, and I think those are both next year, which is pretty exciting for the studio. Like they've been very committed to this game for a
yeah,
while now,
years.
years.
Um,
And this
So
one's
yeah,
not co-op, which I found really interesting because like that is like
right,
Deep Rock as as a game, as a franchise at this point feels like it's all about playing with
it's
your
a game with your
friends.
buddies
So
for sure.
to have like, hey, for this one we're just going to do like more of a solo experience. Interesting. I
Yeah.
can
Rogue
see why.
Core will have co-op though.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I just
But
don't
that is
know.
TBA.
Yeah, I don't know what they've got a teaser out for it. This is like a voiceover or text over, but there's not a whole lot that I've seen a few screenshots, but I'm very curious what the loop is on that one.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll
This
be good.
this game
Like the
and the one that comes out on December 1st, SteamWorld Build.
yes. Oh,
Ta-
so excited for
taking
that.
taking things that you know very well and putting them into genres that they haven't been in before, but yet feel so fucking familiar. And
Hmm.
that it's like all the stuff in SteamWorld felt Chef's Kiss, and this felt the same way. Like I don't know what you call that, but I fucking love it when that stuff happens. When you can take something that is so familiar and known and still make it feel fresh and warranted to be somewhere. I love that so much. It's great.
Yeah, just using those settings and those characters and finding ways to inventively reconfigure them into new
Yeah.
genres and new ideas. I'm all for it.
What else have you been up to, Johnny?
I checked out that new Forza Motorsport yesterday.
Is it round?
Those wheels are extraordinarily round.
That's great to hear.
I played through the opening race. It wasn't as flashy as what you get with the Horizon Festival.
Sure. Yeah, you're not doing jumps.
No, but it's still pretty cool. You got to drive an electronic Corvette on some great big race course, and then you get to pick your first car. I went with the Honda Civic Si. It's one of my favorite hatchbacks, and I did a couple races there, and then I tested out the friend. And the way the multiplayer works is actually pretty interesting because
Let me guess. Is it a Drivatar?
there are drivatars. Those are here. That is a series must-have.
Terrible.
But this was against other people. They were all. It wasn't just me and my friend against. AI.
Oh, are you now like? Are you bronze or are you platinum in this like you are in Street Fighter?
God no. God no. No. I honestly, I don't know how much of this I will play, just because I am much more of an arcade racer. I love the Horizon games, but this is like it's on Game Pass. It's a new Forza game.
Do you think that people who are into Sims, I know that was it this year that they had the really bad one on Sony, or was that last year?
GT7.
GT7?
That was last year, right?
People like GT7.
That was last year.
No, one had a really bad launch.
I think it was GT Sport.
That was Gran Turismo. It like went down at one point.
Yeah.
I think the gameplay itself people like.
But like buying cars was also a pain in the ass.
It was
like
kind of fun.
But this is coming out pretty strong though, right? For people who like, I guess that's my point. I know we don't like that, but people who do they like this?
Yeah. So the guy I was playing with, he plays hundreds of hours of GT7. He loves all the Forza games. He said that right now this feels like a very strong 7 out of 10 for him. So not bad.
Okay.
It's also kind of just like it's the same formula. Like you're gonna get the same tracks you've raced on.
Yeah, like how much
you're racing with so many of the same cars.
How much rounder can you make the wheels? How much more tuning can you add to it? Like
they nailed the mechanics like within Forza Motorsport 3. I think is like where that game felt like okay, you kind of figured it out, and now it's what else do you add to it?
And they tried to position this as, I mean, it's a series reboot. It's not numbered. The last one was 7, which came out 2 Forza Horizons ago, right? Like it's been a minute since we've gotten a motorsport. And so I think for just talking to my friend yesterday, I think this will make people happy, like the people that really enjoy those motorsport games. And like there's so depth depth to it. Like he was advising me. He was like, hey, for the qualifying laps, make sure you put this much gas in your car, and then use these kind of tires. And
that's too much for me.
Because he was explaining it, and it's really interesting because the course itself takes into account like how much rubber has been laid down on the track as the race progresses, and that will make you faster or slower, and you will pick rubber back up on your tires. Which
can I put Kirby on my car?
He had Bulma from Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I think you'll be taken care of.
Yeah, like the dumb
also,
skins are definitely there.
That series has done a great job about giving you assists as well. So if you want to get into the hardcore, like how much rubber on my tires, how much gas is in my car?
That was going to be my next point. Chase is I got to that point right where it's like you can do all of this tweaking, like you can get as weird as you want, or you just push this button and it'll find the most ideal build for it. It's like, great, let's do that.
Or you just like turn on the traction control and then like you'll be fine. It'll take care of it for you.
So yeah, it's a known quantity. Like I was really just more cars, like and they look very nice. There was a little bit of framiness.
Hmm.
Not during races. I was running everything maxed out, I think, and
Maybe
hitting
your
like
PC's
80.
just not good enough.
No, it's not. That's not that, Chase. Let me finish my point here.
Okay. Okay.
The races were fine. It was like 80 to 90, but like during transitional cutscenes, it like chugged. It like went down to like single frames almost. It was really bizarre. And I guess there's like some crashes and stuff. But
Well,
they're
it's a game with
PC.
cars in it. There's going to be crashes.
Yeah. uh, um, yeah. It seems fine. It seems like a good racing game, especially considering you can play it, on a service that you may be paying for already at
Yeah.
no additional cost.
The big criticism I've seen people levy at it so far is that it just kind of doesn't have a reason to do a lot of these things. You kind of have to make your own fun. It's
Mhm.
not like there's a campaign or something that's pulling you through things to do.
Yeah,
There are, hey, here's like a 3 circuit tournament or something that you get into, but it's not. I mean, Gran Turismo 7 maybe got a little too much the other way, where you're like going to cafes and talking to people about how cool the cars are, and getting like that. That was maybe the other end of the spectrum. But um, the thing I've heard from some people on Twitter and other social media sites is just like it's great. It works great, but man, I have played this kind of game
a
for
lot.
7 games
Yeah,
so far, and I kind of need a reason to keep doing this or to do this again, and it's just not really giving me one.
Yeah.
It's just another race around the Nürburgring, and it's the prettiest Nürburgring they've ever made, but also I have raced that course hundreds of times. Like give me a reason to do
yeah.
it again.
There's
And
only so many real race courses in the world, Chase.
sure. But
Um,
again, like that's I played Forza Motorsport 3, I played
yeah.
Forza Motorsport 4, and now I'm fine playing Horizons that have to like change up the whole world every time you do one of these
Hmm.
things, and it has new things to explore and new modes and mechanics and things like that. Like that is the series that feels like it's doing stuff. And with sim racers, you've kind of played one, you've played them all, and
Sure.
I'm just kind of done with that at this point.
Yeah.
Chase washes his hands of it. Speaking of washing your hands of things, it seems like
COVID.
what whatever player base may have existed at one point in time.
Oh, are you trying to go to the news? Is that what we're doing?
I'm
Okay.
going to the news. This is a
That was
news.
a very smooth transition to the news. So
Yes.
smooth that
Thank you.
we missed it. We missed the transition.
Um, hey guys, you remember Redfall?
Nope.
No.
Hey, nobody else does either because
Yep.
people can't find games on Steam
Yeah, that doesn't surprise
because
me.
the
Yeah.
player base is so
That's rough. That's rough.
that yeah.
I think
feel
there was
for
what, 2 or
Arcane.
3 people on at one point in time.
It's bad, man. And Pete Hines saying this is a 10-year game. Like, come on, man, cut your losses. They just put out a big update for it, which added a performance mode on the consoles. So I guess it's good. They're still working on it, but also like, who are those updates for if no one's actually
Yeah,
playing the game?
I don't think this is a No Man's Sky situation. I don't think
No.
you're gonna turn this one around.
I don't think so either. Like, obviously they are owned by Microsoft, so they have the resources, but will they
You got to
bother?
know when to hold
Yeah.
them. You got to know when to fold them.
It's like the well just feels like it's been poisoned at this point. Like I
Mhm.
would,
Yeah.
this might be worse than Anthem. This might be worse than Anthem.
Yes, it absolutely is. Anthem was a good game that just had bad
Like
treatment.
yeah, like Anthem had some ideas.
The
We can't talk
gameplay.
about it. Bobby's gonna get upset.
God damn it, dude! I do. That's like that's the one that got
They
away.
could have saved it. They could have saved it.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Yeah, I don't.
We've got to go back.
I don't think
No,
that holds
dude,
back,
just no
unfortunately.
kidding. It was so fucking good. God. Anyway, Redfall sucks. What else? What else going
Redfall,
on?
yeah. The workers at CD Projekt are forming a union after
Good.
after 3 rounds of layoffs at the company over the summer. Lots of like, not just in the video game industry, but unions in general, it seems, are on the rise. Which
Cool to see.
I am fully behind. Hey, remember what happened with Unity a few weeks ago?
Yeah,
Have you seen this? You heard about this?
that one I do remember.
Somehow there's a
Um,
worse John.
So here's the thing: these assholes,
Mhm.
even when they like John Riccatello got pushed out at Unity, effective immediately, but also how many, like what kind of golden parachute situation? Like he comes in, he completely destroys their reputation, erodes trust with their developer partners, and then he gets shit canned. But I want to know how much money he's getting on the way out. You guys ever get paid when you get fired from a job?
Not not
More like
not me, but
like more
so
than just your last paycheck? I've never
yeah,
been
uh-huh.
fired from a job, but it seems like if you fuck up bad enough that the chief executive gets let go,
Yeah.
why are you giving him millions of dollars for failing?
Bobby's just salivating with the things he wants to say right
What?
now.
What?
So,
Say it, Bobby.
nope, we're just gonna keep moving forward.
You got something
Um,
to say?
so one of the things that I've seen here is,
Mm-hmm.
and I am not in the position that I want to be defending John Riccitello. That's not what I want to do. But he is kind of the fall guy for this. Where like that is a company
Good.
that has a board of really terrible people,
Mm-hmm.
and
You
he
could
is
just say
just
they have
kind
a
of the
board.
figurehead for that. And so a lot of these decisions, because one of the things I did see is he's been at the head of Unity for a really long time, and there he turned Unity, or like Unity grew a lot with his tenure. So
Sure.
it's not that he did a ton of terror. He wasn't all awful. There was a time where like things were working and Unity was getting bigger and it became like this really ubiquitous engine for people to use. But there are tendrils behind the
Sure.
scenes, and one of the things that I saw that was really disconcerting is that with him being kicked out now, they're going to like the article said, like they're going to an outsider who works at this Silver Lake
Great.
company,
Hmm.
but
So
there's
they've learned nothing.
already some board members from Silver Lake on the board already, so they're kind of just bringing in another person who's
Yeah.
Another,
going to continue to
yeah,
make
another
Unity
asshole.
even worse. Like
Um,
I would not. This is
and
this is not something to celebrate that John Riccitello is out, because it's not
I
getting
mean,
better.
he deserved to lose his job
I,
for that.
again, not defending him. Totally fine that
He
he's gone, but him being gone is not going to fix anything.
will no. I mean, obviously not. But someone, as you said, someone had to take the fall, right?
I
All
think that
right.
also with that, there's been, whether they've turned the ship around, people have wrote them off. Like I think anything that was in flight right now being made, a lot of people don't have the resources to learn a new system to continue it. They're going to see it through, but I almost assuredly would would bet that a lot of these devs next game is not going to be
Yeah.
on Unity.
Yeah. Like the damage that was done is, I feel, probably irreparable. Like, who knows
Yes.
where if Unity will even in 5 to 10 years,
Yeah,
at least in the way that it does now or has. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see the long term impact that those very poor choices led them to.
maybe they'll keep their lucrative military contracts and things that they
There
do,
you go.
but in terms
Yeah.
of the indie devs, yeah, like if you were an indie dev who was early enough in your game process, a lot of them did switch off from Unity. Like Bobby said, there were some that were deep enough in. It's like, man, we really just need to finish this game, and thankfully, Unity backed off enough to allow them to go, okay, we don't have to start from scratch, we can just finish
Right.
this game, but
But
also I need to
also,
get the hell out of here.
what's to stop them from trying to pull that same shit
Absolutely, or
later
Right.
even
on?
worse.
Um, and yeah, it's been a bad year for workers in games,
Mm-hmm.
as this next story illustrates, from Epic.
Like games
Uh,
games are just making record profits, and somehow also we're
there's
cutting
thousands of layoffs.
so many jobs, and all these layoffs are happening. Yeah, it's a
Um,
terrible system.
yeah, around 830 people are losing. Um, and it's It's funny that the risks and bets and gambles that the people in the C-suite choose to make,
And this is at Epic, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
they are never the ones to suffer from their fuck ups, and it's people further down the rung that have to deal with their poor choices.
Well, also
Don't
just the mismanagement. Like one of the
yeah.
quotes I saw, I think it was a Polygon article, is like Epic just learned that they were doing so financially bad within the last week. It's like
How
how did
I
you
think the report I
how
saw was that they've known for a while that they were spending more money than they were bringing in,
Mhm.
and somehow, according to Tim Sweeney's email to the team, Fortnite was just getting back to a place of making money.
That's
I don't,
insane.
which is
That
wild
is
to think about.
ludicrous.
And I know that the whole concept of their acquisitions, the way especially that they're handling things with Bandcamp,
Yeah, it's
which
fucked.
they've had for less than a year, and they
Yeah.
just sell it off
Like
without doing
why
anything
did
with
you
it.
even buy it to
It
begin with?
basically lets you know that they didn't have a plan. They never had a plan
Yeah.
with this.
It's
And
just a shiny bauble that they wanted to have.
correct. And
Um
that's a shame. That's a
Well,
real
and that
shame.
goes in. I mean, I know Jeff Grubbs talked about this a lot on his feed, where money was really cheap for a bit
Yeah.
there, and it was the interest rates that were going way up. So the idea is you spend your money on something now or then, because your money is going to be worth less the next year.
Yeah.
So go grab an asset, and
Yeah.
then that has more value the next year than whatever your cash reserve would have been. So you have a lot of companies that are making acquisitions for that reason, because they know that the money that they have in the bank is going to be worth less the next year. But now you get to the spot of, well, you're in financial trouble. Well, what do you do? Well, now you have to sell off shit, and
you
that's how
should
you
have
get
at
into that.
least like, so many months saved to prepare for something like this, right? Like that's what they always tell us.
Yeah, it turns out the system is fucked,
God,
especially for people at the
I
lowest
hate
rungs.
these
Like,
people. I
yeah,
hate them so much.
it's pretty bad.
Um
And it's ridiculous that Epic, which is a hugely
yeah.
not profitable exactly, but they make a lot of money, whether whether
Yeah.
they're making profits or not. They're bringing in a lot of money, and they do a lot of stuff. They've got their own Steam competitor now. They've got Fortnite, the biggest game ever. And the idea that they can't find the money to pay their own people,
You
and,
know,
and having to make cuts is ridiculous to
uh
me.
Satoru Iwata cut his own salary uh
Famously.
so that they wouldn't have to lay off, regular
Uh,
people.
yeah, I did see people were bringing up an old tweet of Tim Sweeney's, where it was something like, when other companies go through financial problems, and it was a picture of some kind of layoff or something, or like some kind of abandonment, and then when Epic goes through financial problems, and it's like, we're all coming together. It was like Roman centurions or something coming together, and,
God,
and you're like, yep, that didn't age very well, did it?
no, it didn't. And
God.
then rounding out the news here, I did you guys know about this game? I
I
don't
did know
remember
about this.
anything
I'll
about
I'll
it.
take this one for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's wild about this is this game has been pretty hyped up. The week that it was fucking canceled completely, scrapped to nothing, they had just shown off some new in-game skins of all the Sonic characters that you could get, and this got canceled and like done 1 week after their first big beta for the game,
Yeah,
which
it's
it got
wild.
pretty good reception there. This is the Zero G battle royale game that they're going for. It's another one of those games, and it's I've just not seen a game that went through all the paces. And not only did
Did he
it
say the
get
name? This is
hyenas,
hyenas.
yeah, he said it's hyenas. The other thing too is creative. What was the name of the Creative Assembly?
Hmm.
They who were making it got completely dissolved from this, and they didn't even get a
That really
notice. It's like,
sucks.
hey, your game's fucking toast that we own, And by the way, you're done. Like, they should have at least given it to them and said, take this game with you. If you want to go somewhere else and put it out, go for it. But
that's IP, Bobby. You could
I
buy
I
something
know.
with that.
I know. But it's fucking crazy.
It is, and it really sucks to see something like that happen to Creative Assembly, who's a developer with a long pedigree of really good games, and for them to get screwed by something like this.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not in our news stories, but it's also ties into a lot of the same stuff. BioWare had some recent layoffs, but also now they're in legal trouble because they were trying to screw some employees out of the right severance that they were entitled to. So now, and also not only the severance, but they also tried to give them some kind of non-compete of like, oh yeah, you can't even talk about the game that we are canceling that you've been working on the last 2 years. So like, good luck getting another fucking job. And
they
like,
also
they
just put on ice, they said, and I guess that's like a nicer way of saying it's dead, but the Last of Us Naughty Dog's multiplayer game,
right?
Like that's not coming out. It just feels like this bubble has been popping, but is now really popping. Like, these games are being made for 3 years and only being actively supported for 8 to 12 months before they're gone. And at that point,
you've
it's
seen
like
it in the other entertainment industries as well. Like the Batgirl movie didn't even come out. Like, fuck it, let's just write it off. Who cares? Let's cut these things from Max that have already been out for a while. But we're just not going to support them anymore because it doesn't work for our bottom line. It actually makes us more money somehow to not have them on our service than to have them on our service.
I found out earlier that Valve is going to be refunding people who paid for CS:GO on Mac because they're not going to work on making a workable version of it for Mac OS. So you can get $15.
Well, the other thing too, though, is like Mac's supposed to be able to start running Windows executables here soon.
Yeah. I just thought that was funny that like this game that you could have bought forever ago. They're like, well, here's your money back.
It's incredible. It's like Bobby said, like there is this bubble that is happening, and it is slowly or quickly popping, and I don't know which because it's kind of both. Because you still have games making record amounts of money.
And you have lots of smaller games that come, but just as many that probably we never hear about that just crash and burn, and people lose what they invested into it. So it is interesting times.
Hey, but Destiny's still going.
Destiny's kicking and screaming.
That's right.
Speaking of that, let's tell you a little bit about what we're up to this week. Johnny, thanks for taking us through the news there. We have all the links in chat. This week we had the Steam Next Fest showcase. We talked about some of those demos earlier in the episode tonight, but you can go and check that out right here on Twitch. We always like to cover it and had a great time doing so. We told you all about the games that we've been playing this week and some of the news around it. And 2 games that we talked about at length tonight, both Assassin's Creed and Cocoon, both have quick looks going up this week. And Chase's 2 games that he mentioned earlier with Chance of Sinar and the Suika game will be up next week. And then Friday night, we've made the executive decision as of today. We are not playing Baldur's Gate on Friday, but instead we are going to check out Remnant 2 on stream on Friday night. So tune in to check out Johnny, Bobby, and Jason in some Remnant 2. Chase, what about you, my friend? What do you got going
on? Nothing this week. We'll figure out more later, but I haven't written anything new. That'll happen at the end of the month. So you know what? We'll just take a week off from me. Don't worry about it. You watch other things.
Sounds groovy. We'll talk to you all live on Twitch Friday night. Talk to you then.
See ya.